Okay, this is a tutorial in regards to MySQL Workbench version 8.0 and MySQL Server version 8.0.28, and it's in respect to adding multiple triggers to a database. In this particular case, we've not been successful, or the application of this workbench doesn't allow you to add multiple triggers, and I'll show you a workaround to get around that. So first off, what we'll do is we'll get into the alter table specifications, where we can now go to triggers, and we'll just remove this trigger at the moment, and that way we can start from fresh. So in this particular case, we have two tables: user with first and last, user ID, which is just an incrementing integer for each entry. Then we have a backup table, which has first, last, timestamp, and action. We're going to add two triggers to this. The first trigger will go in, and we won't do much here. We'll just leave that alone. And basically, this is where the workbench has no issue with just one trigger. So we'll just apply. It goes through the process and it adds that trigger to the table. When we go to add the second trigger, and again, we won't put anything in here at the moment with respect to what we're going to do with respect to the before update trigger. We apply this. What happens is the application will follow this previous trigger, which is normal. However, it does not add any of the begin and end and any of the software or commands that you have used for that trigger. So we'll go and try that, and we come up with an error with a syntactical issue with line which doesn't have the begin and end. So in order to get around that, what we have to do is basically copy this, and in this case here, we'll just go through it just so you can see what we do here. So we go insert into the users, I'm going to scroll back up, and we're going to go first, last, timestamp, and action. And we'll put the values of, put old first, which is the previous, or the one that's going to get over, or the one prior to being overwritten, last, and we'll put timestamp of now, and we'll call it an action of update. And we have completed that, and now we have this. Now in order to get around this issue, what we need to do is copy. When we go to apply, you'll notice that the begin and end and any of that code is not there. So what we need to do is add that, cut and paste it, and now we go about process it, and now we have that trigger. So in this particular case, if we go in here and we add in, we'll just put John Smith and apply, and now we have John Smith in the table. Now if we go in here and change this to John Doe and apply, finish, and if we go and check this table, we now have John Smith, and it was updated prior. So it ran this one and this, it ran these. Now just to prove that everything is working the way it's supposed to, we'll go back here and we will copy this. So we'll have actually, basically, we're going to end up with double entries in here. So we'll go back in here, paste this, and again, we're going to have to cut and paste this because this problem doesn't go away. If we go in here and apply, you'll notice that the begin and end are not there. So we have to cut and paste this in, apply, finish. So now we have two entries that will double up, and there's nothing to change here. So now if we go back to the user table, change this back to John Smith, and hit apply, we end up with, we should have double entries, and we do, two John Does, because this trigger was fired and they both do the same thing. or the trigger was fired once, but it executed this trigger and then this trigger. So that should help you with a workaround on this software.